Hey folks, I'm pmcTrilogy, and I'm going to play Armored Core any percent for you. This is the raw any percent category for this game, so it's going to be quite the meme run. When I submitted this to Valuethon, I think my comment for was this is an extreme meme run, so watch out. I'll explain things as we go along. To start the timer off, its time starts when I hit new game here, so I'm just going to do a countdown to it, and on go, we'll go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so we do have to do the first mission as intended. This is the Raven test. I'm going to use missiles for this. You can opt to use the laser blade by jumping, but in the interest of marathon consistency, these guys are quite squirmy, and so it's often better to just take them out with the missiles. If you're not familiar with Armored Core is a 1997 third-person action game made by From Software. So maybe you've heard of From Software. They've made these games recently called the Souls games that some people seem to be really interested in. But before that, they made a lot of Armored Core games, a lot of mech games, even besides Armored Core. And so this is the first one from 1997.
The test is over. From this moment on, you are a
Yeah.
Raven.
So now we're a Raven, but I got I got bad news. This is any percent. So instead of being a good mercenary, we're going to be the worst behaved mercenary of all time. We are going to sign up for every job that we can possibly sign up for and immediately quit on it. We're also going to steal office supplies. So here, we're going to go back, steal this, and then immediately walk off the job. And so Armored Core, like the single player campaign, is structured in 36 units of time. 4 of those units of time have required missions. Oh, wait, oopsies. Have required missions that you cannot skip. However, that does mean that the other 30 plus units of time, you can just walk off the job.
System engaged.
Now, for our purposes, we do have some qualifications to how we walk off the job. The 80%. So the Armored Core single player has a branching path. And so at times we will be selecting missions based on our ability to influence which path we get. Because we want to get a particular path at the end.
System engaged.
Because that's going to make it easier for us to complete the game. And for 2 reasons. So I mentioned before, we're going to be choosing missions to quit based on our ability to influence the branching path at the end of the game, and then we're also going to be choosing missions to quit so that we can get cash advances that we'll use to build the actual unit that we use at the end of the game.
System engaged.
But I do want to emphasize, we are going to be doing about 30 plus aborts in a row, so that would be something. Now, I should mention that I do also speedrun the other categories of this game. There is a no fail missions category. I have run it. This is a fun game, but this is Valuethon, so I figured why not go for value?
Engaged.
Why not go for the highest value that you can get as a mercenary? So you can see here, like these 2 ones, instead of just automatically selecting the first mission in the list, we're going to be selecting other missions again to influence our branching path at the end of the game. I should mention also that I am playing this on PSTV, which I'm pretty sure is the fastest version of the game.
System engaged.
So now our next mission is going to be our first example of pocketing a cash advance. There are a number of missions throughout the game that will just give you money up front before you even do anything. And so we're going to select one of those, and that way by the end of the game, when we actually have to do work, we're going to have about 100K saved up from pocketing these cash advances upon which we did no work afterwards.
System engaged.
So here we just pocketed a good $7,000 and then just pieced right out. Because why would you do work? That would be dumb. Work is ridiculous. Yeah, in terms of the actual act of quitting out of work as fast as possible, I sort of have a game with myself where I'm trying to
System engaged.
I'm trying to have as little of the UI appear as possible So it's usually pretty consistent to get the energy bar on the left to not appear before you can quit out. If you're really like frame perfect, you can prevent your targeting reticule from appearing, which is also very flashy. But something something that probably nobody would understand unless you had, you know, spent hours of your life quitting out of Armored Core.
System engaged.
The Japanese version of this is slightly faster, and the reason for that is because of the text scrolling. It's not even like there's like a more text screens, it's just that the text scrolls way faster on the Japanese version of the game, and so you end up saving about 40 seconds over the course of the run by using Japanese. But then we wouldn't get this fun English voice acting.
System engaged.
But I'm pretty much working with an audio cue in terms of what you can avoid. So right now we are about I would say a third of the way through our aborts for this category, which is pretty fun.
System engaged.
We will have a brief moment of gameplay about halfway through, which, you know, get excited for that. I should mention that the end of this run is very cool. We'll be using several out-of-bounds tricks at the end of the run to complete the missions that we can't quit out of. But until we get there, we have to go as hard as possible to not do any work.
System engaged.
So you see there, like I'm able to avoid having the FCS, the targeting reticule show up because I was able to get the frame perfect input, which is fun. High level quitting gameplay.
System engaged.
And of course, you might realize that some of these missions that I'm quitting out of multiple times. And the reason for that is because missions are available on a sort of sliding time period. And so if you don't complete the mission, if the mission's still available, you can try it again. I had to find a chart in order to understand how this works because not all missions are available for the same period of time.
System engaged.
Some missions are only available for a single period of time, and then some are available for as many as 7 units of time during the Armored Core 1 timeline. All right, so we're almost to the halfway point. There's about halfway through the game, there's a point where usually you pick one of two missions. You pick to either guard a factory or to attack a factory.
Engaged.
And your choice there will usually affect your branching path. Although, because we're quitting out of so many missions, it's not quite as transparent. But yeah, we're gonna guard this factory entrance and then immediately walk off the job, as you do.
System engaged.
I'm really amazed that even after all of this, I still continue to get hired, which is really a testament to the gig economy, I think, in this setting. This is a post-apocalyptic setting, so I assume that they have a gig economy. Oh yeah, I'm still getting paid.
System engaged.
All right, so we got one more abort, and then we can walk off the job with some more office supplies as well, which will be really important for our end game build.
System engaged.
In the no fail missions version of this game, of this speedrun, we're able to sort of shape things so that we create units of time in which there is no available mission, and we're able to skip periods of time that way without having to fail missions. Thanks From Software for making straightforward video games, even in the mid-90s. All right, so here we're going to steal some office supplies.
System engaged. Target
All right, we got we picked up a generator, and then we said, actually, I don't want to do this job. I'm leaving. So we'll be using that generator later, though. That'll be quite handy. But it's back to just quitting. Lots and lots of quitting.
System engaged.
Yeah, you know what? Whatever that thing is, I don't want to fight that thing. No thanks. So yeah, we're about 2/3 of the way through. We're almost to the part where I start getting a lot of cash advances. And where I really build up. Because as you can imagine, as the payouts get higher throughout the game, my employers are like, actually, we'll pay you in advance if you would just do your job.
Engaged.
I'm like, well, you can pay me in advance. I can't promise I'll actually do any work, though. But don't worry, we'll also have shopping. If you like RPG speedruns, we'll get to do some hot menus. This is basically a RPG speedrun when you think about it with the menus.
System engaged.
This speedrun category has a funny history too. If you look at the SRC leaderboard and look at the previous runs, you can see that some people in their runs will skip some of the missions using just the boarding immediately, but there almost seemed like a reticence
System engaged.
to actually abort every mission like I'm doing right now. Like, no one would want to do this. Who would be dumb enough? Who would be crazy enough? And the answer was a Japanese runner who came up with this route. But shoutouts to Shintaro Kanzuki, I think is the guy's name. I only found his video on YouTube. I've never actually interacted with him,
System
but
engaged.
an excellent run. Yeah, so there are two other categories for Armored Core 1. One of them is called No Fail Missions, No Out of Bounds. The reason it's called No Fail Missions is because even if I were to die or go just leave the mission zone physically, it would still advance time in the same way that aborting advances time. So
System engaged.
it's sort of inadequate to say to call it no aborts, right? Because we call it no fail because we don't want you to advance time using any fail conditions. We want you to actually do every mission in that category. Because again, even if you lost all your HP or killed the target you were protecting or something like that, you would still advance time. And so I do the no fail missions, no out of bounds category, and then also I came up with my own category that is just plain no fail missions.
System engaged.
Where out of bounds is permitted. No one else wanted to route it, but I really like out of bounds in this game, so I also did that category. And also I'm really tooting my own horn here, but I also recently did a PS1 trilogy run. So if you're unfamiliar with Armored Core games, you can actually import save data between select chains of Armored Core games. So for example, when you finish this game, you can import the data
Space is certain to have
to Armored Core Project Phantasma. And then similarly, you can import data from
System engaged.
this game or Project Phantasma to Master of Arena, which is the third game on PlayStation 1. And so I did a full trilogy run. I did a trilogy run. So that was also a lot of fun. So that mission right there that we just did, that was a mission where a guy pulls us into a trap where he pays us all the money in advance and then tries to leave us to die.
System engaged.
Yeah, some of it is work. I don't necessarily always endorse actually doing hard work, but if you enjoy the game, it can be fun. Okay, so we got about half a dozen quits left, and then I'll do actual work. I promise.
System engaged.
This mission right here is stop gas exposure, or as I like to call it, stop farting. was a mission that really scared me as a child because if you go into the cave, it's like full of poisonous gas that drains your health. And you have to plant 5 bombs before you run out of health. It was always very stressful, but it's not too bad as a speedrun.
System engaged.
I should mention that I will be doing the no quit outs category in in another marathon a week from now. So if you do want to see that category in a marathon setting, you know where to find me.
System engaged.
All right, now we got like 2 more quits, and then we'll have 100,000 in cash advances. So I think we got 80K right now. Yeah, so we'll get another 20K from our last abort, and then we'll also be able to sell some of our parts as well. Yeah, these guys want us to like capture space stations and stuff. No thanks. It'll be Amarillo will be for
engaged.
Retrothon. I will be doing Friday night on Retrothon. I will be doing the Armored Core No Out of Bounds, no fail mission. So, didn't the AC2? I haven't played those games in years, and so I don't know the answer to that. I do know that the Armored Core 2 any percent category has some quitting.
System engaged.
But I have not studied that yet. Like, so I do plan to move on to that soon though. I do plan to check out Armored Core 2 sometime this summer. I only started learning Armored Core speedruns earlier this year, and I had a ton of fun. All right, so yeah, so now that we've achieved our goals, we're gonna do actual work. So we're gonna sell our head, and then we're gonna sell all these broken weapons that we have. We're gonna buy a new head, and then we're gonna buy a huge grenade launcher, just like the biggest grenade launcher we can find. The head will automatically equip because we have no head, and then we'll put the grenade launcher on. So now we're gonna go do the mission Destroy Justice. We've been hired to destroy a giant space cannon, and you can see in those photos there during the mission briefing, we're supposed to travel through a long tunnel full of dangerous stuff and blow up some like space cannon. Oh my god.
Emergency.
Oh god.
Unknown intruders detected.
That's so loud.
All blocks moved
Anyway,
to intercept.
this is space, so we're going to attack
Ship
space.
on site.
By destroying the energy supply unit in the wall, we
And-
can buy some time. You must win this battle.
So
3 minutes to full charge.
the thing about Out of Bounds and
Battle
Armored
over.
Core is
Combat
that
system disengaged.
space is a closed loop. And so when we shot our grenade launcher out into space, the grenade shells hit the far side of space, and the damage from the explosion wrapped around in the coordinates for the blast radius, wrapped around and destroyed our target on the other side of the map. So just remember, space is a closed loop. Yeah. So instead of traveling through the tunnel and destroying the space cannon, we shot the space cannon from the other side by having our grenade shells travel through the entirety of space. Don't worry about it. It's good. This is the only category in which we get to do this mission this way. So it is one of my favorite things about Armored Core 1 speedrunning. Alright, but we gotta go shopping again. Alright, so we need arms with big shoulder pads for reasons. We need some fast legs. We need some optional parts that will make our stuff real good. And then we also need a little plasma cannon. Like a real tiny one. Because we have tiny legs. So everything auto-equips except our weapon. And now, so at this point, we are in the final missions where we cannot quit. Well, I think we can quit these, but if you die, it's a game over screen. So,
Combat system engaged.
but instead of doing what the game wants us to do, we're gonna go out of bounds. So this game has an out of bounds method, and it is very good. Basically, while you're strafing, if you press down on the D-pad, you can activate a glitched animation. And the glitched animation causes you to just sink through the floor. And I have chosen a spot where we do that.
Raven,
Hey there.
there seems to be nothing else here. That's
So
enough.
we now enter
Please
the
return.
next trigger for the sequence here. And we're supposed to just come back up to the surface through that tunnel, but we're going to just go out of bounds again and then fly up directly because that's way faster. While we're in this glitched animation, we can only rotate and look up or down. We can't actually move, so that's why I'm just pointing myself and waiting. So I have to go straight up from here because there are other rooms all around me and I can't see them. And if I clip into them, it's going to be really annoying. So I just need to go straight up to the surface. And then I have to go into this tunnel a little bit just to activate the enemy who I'm going to fight.
You are still alive? But we will end that now. Don't you understand? You are totally out of line. You are going overboard.
Sledgehammer found.
This guy's being very squirrely, but we'll get him. Yeah, so we're basically relying on this plasma cannon and the enemy staying somewhat still to get through this. So there are varying levels of how well this can go, but usually it goes fine. And so now we're on to the final mission in the game. If you're not familiar with the plot, the final mission in the game, the computer that controls society tries to kill us. It's like, hey, can you come to our base? Can you come over to our house? There are floating mines and we want you to destroy
Combat
them.
system engaged.
We've taken care of all the enemies. It's very safe. We just need you to do this job for us. Nothing bad's going to happen today. But actually, behind this door, it's an ambush, and they want to kill me. So I'm going to peace out of that, because that's lame. So now we're going to go out of bounds to get around them. We do have to activate the spawn instead of just going around. All right, so we leave we leave the Earth. Just clip out of bounds. Go around them. All right, so now we do actually have to do this next fight, though. I'm gonna give my energy a chance to recharge. These red guys are deeply the bane of my existence. Ideally, they just line up and get shot. Doesn't always work out that way. Alright, that's good. That's some of them. Alright, I need to move up. Alright. So now there should be one more guy over... Nah, he's through the wall. Alright, yeah, he was almost dead. What a bum. Ideally, they would all just line up in front of the doorway and I'd be able to get them quickly, but things don't always go as you want. So here the game does refill our health and ammo. And if you're playing this game casually, there would be a really stressful part here where you have to ascend these
Combat
really long
system
shafts where it's
engaged.
really easy to fall down. But
Stop such foolishness.
we're not going to do that because that'd be silly. So we're going to clip out of bounds. I'm going to try and line myself up based on this hallway that I just clipped out of. Yeah, so I'm going to line myself up like right here, and I'm going to look down. I mentioned before that space wraps around. Space also wraps around from bottom to top. So, wow, I blind landed in that. Usually you can see that hallway before landing in it, so that was weird. Anyway, this is the computer that controls society. I'm going to blow it up. Time will end when the save prompt appears. Time. Cool. So that was Armored Core any percent, the regular vanilla any percent. Armored Core speedrunning is a lot of fun. There's a nice Discord. I recommend it. I have lots of videos. I do a lot of it. So I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration of how to complete Armored Core 1 as quickly as possible. And enjoy Computer Society. Thank you.